Hello, my friends. So excited to have Bainz on here today. Those of you that are rewatching or checking out for the first time, we've got these also an audio version, which we'll release tomorrow, and got a YouTube where you can watch it on there. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing today? Yeah, I'm really excited to have Bainz on here. We were chatting yesterday. He was at the studio till like 8 a.m. because he's a crazy person. Because, you know, that's what it takes. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Let me get him on here real quick. What's up, you guys? How are you?
Hey.
Yo. What's up, man? How are you?
How's it going, man?
It's good. Good to see you.
Good to be here, man. Good to be here.
It's incredible, man. It's been great. It's been great chatting with you over the last week or two, and you know, getting to know each other a little bit, because we basically met over from doing these streams. You've been watching some of them, and you know John a bit. And
hell yeah. I've been like, I feel like all of quarantine this past year, I've like watched so much and learned so much off this.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
Yeah. But yeah, it's great to be here. And I did sleep.
Yeah, when I called you, whenever FaceTime like a couple weeks ago, you were like, I'd love to come on, and we were talking about it, and you were like, I just got to get through the end of this album, and then right after that, it's like, now we got to do the deluxe version, so I got a million things to do. But then the deluxe version comes out. I FaceTime you a couple of days ago, and I realized I wake up and you have a story. You're in the studio at 7 a.m. Like, I thought the album was done, but you're already on the next thing going crazy.
No, yeah, exactly, because like, you know, that's just how it is. But that's just really how it is. There's so many artists signed to this label, and they were like, all right, cool, next thing, and like while Thug's out of town and I don't have to record all the time, it's actually cool, because this is what I like doing, you know, like just getting these projects done, and like when there's, you know, the pressure kind of just makes it more exciting.
So are you basically just full on working on all the YSL projects? Like, how did you? Maybe you can give us a little background on sort of how you came into it, and you were vocal engineering, and now you're basically mixing everything. Where are you at with everything?
So yeah, I started working with Thug about 4 years ago, and I was kind of Thug's recording engineer, and that kind of grows. And I know a lot of people work in the studio a lot, but in my career, I've never seen anyone be in the studio more than the way these guys are. So it went from, I started being Thug's engineer, but then once I was locked in, it was, you can't, there's no time to take any more gigs or anything else. Mm. So you kind of get locked in. And there was a few years where I was just in every day recording, and like, I think everyone from the crew like knew as well that what I wanted to do was eventually mix. And really it was Thug and Geoff, Thug's manager and A&R at the label. They really saw that I could do it. And once I delivered a few projects, they were like, yo, it's everything. Actually, it was a few songs. It was just, from then on, it was like project after project after project. And it's really just the convenience of being in the same building that Thug's in, like, you know, having my room, getting a full-time assistant. That was really the biggest thing, like, because Aresh, and that's my assistant, we worked together a lot, and he told me, he came to me and he's like, yo, I want to assist, but I want to just mix. I don't want to record. And he came to me as the guy who was running the studio, and I was like, that's not like, I didn't do that, so I didn't think that was possible. I didn't know that's like, I came up through the fucking internship, recording people, all that shit. That's what it was. But like, now that I know, there's a lot of people that actually just skipped the whole recording phase and just went straight to mixing. I didn't think that was possible, so he stuck it out. He did it. He actually did record a bunch of YSL artists, and finally I had enough work, and I was like, all right, cool, I can take on a full-time mix assistant. And it's just been, we've just done project after project since then.
That's incredible, man. Well, and by the way, people saying in the chat there a little bit, congratulations. So you got #1 album. It sounds amazing. I mean, people, it's not just the chart success, but as you can probably see, your peers, or at least me and a few people that I follow who love Thug, are like, man, the album sounds incredible. And obviously, I've been telling you, I've been singing your praises to your face as well. But it's quite an accomplishment. So congratulations on that.
Dude, thank you so much, man. That like means so much coming from you and from John, obviously, who, you know, I like really like look up to, and I really like his work. And, you know, when like I feel like yeah, it's cool to get a plaque and shit like that. But when someone who you know has fucking high standards, okay, this guy has the highest possible standards. He has PMC mains and a Fern rig and everything. This guy is elite status, and he says something like that, you're like, okay, cool, I'm doing something right, which is awesome.
Absolutely, man. Well, you should be very proud of it. And something that we talk about a lot, and you and I've talked a little bit offline as well. This idea of having a creative family. I mean, actually, John and I have been talking about a lot in the last few weeks. I think just kind of coincidentally, but this idea that a lot of people are like, should I move to LA? Should I go to London? Should I go to the big city? Will I get opportunities that way? And I think, we talk about it a lot. I'm very curious for your thoughts on it. Yes, there's an advantage to being around a lot of creative people, but more important than that, getting a consistent group of people that you work with and you work together and evolve with. I mean, it seems like you've done the epitome of that. I mean, you came up as an engineer and an assistant, and now you're mixing #1 album, bigger than ever. Speak on that a little bit.
I didn't actually think that that's what I was gonna do. Like, it was almost like I kind of wanted to be the guy that was working. Like, I wanted to mix records. I wanted to mix big records and engineer big records. I wanted to be like, at the time it was, the Michael Browers, then later on, like Dave, Jason, and all. Like, I wanted to do that. And at we were standing in this room, and I had a realization at one point that a few years in that I can't do that. And I was like, but that's fucking cool, because I can be like Mike Dean. And Mike Dean worked with one camp, but his camp was fucking hot. Like, there's Kanye, there's Travis. You don't need to fucking work with anyone else when you have some shit like that. So I was like, I realized that I kind of was part of this crazy crew, and like I don't have any days off, so there's no need to work with anyone else. And we're pumping out record after record, awesome shit. There's some really cool shit that we have been working on as well. That's like kind of in the pipes, that's just so awesome to be part of. And that's why I think, like, once you're like, and all of us, it's not just me, there's a whole crew of engineers over here that you hang out together, you go. And like, the thing with engineering is it's a real, like, you obviously gotta, it's like being in the hospitality business, especially like as a recording engineer. You got to take care of the clients, you got to do that. And it's cool to do it, but when you're doing it, like the fact that you're familiar with the people you work with every day, and you're still, you still do that, but that comfort just really, really helps. It's when you're exhausted. Like, I know some of my friends are really successful engineers, but they're working with a different big artist every week. Yeah, and just coming into a new setting and shit like that. At least, like, I'm really, really like glad and blessed that I don't have to do that. What's up, Tizio? In the chat. Yeah, that's another friend of mine who like has. What's up, Tizio? How are you? We've done some dope shit together, and he's also like a full-time engineer with one artist, and we kind of we talk about the ups and downs of it. But I mean, for me, it's like only ups, man. It's really a blessing, and I'm sure him too.
That's very cool, man. Yeah, and it's interesting how technology in the last 10 or 15 years, maybe 20 years, has allowed a lot more people to be making records with a lot more people, where you can, when I'm doing writing sessions and things, rather than just production or mixing, when I'm doing writing sessions, it's almost like blind dates, and you can run around and work with a lot of people. But I think a lot of people are losing the perspective on how powerful it is to be working with the same people over and over and over. You can go deeper and deeper, and the trust gets better, and the workworkflow gets better because of it.
That's the biggest thing, trust. Like, there's so much trust between us, and loyalty and all of that. And that means a lot to me. The fact that like Thug is really one of those people. If you're loyal to him, and if you're there, like. But it takes a lot to do that. I don't take days off. I don't not show up. I don't fuck around. I don't like call in sick, any of that stuff. Yeah. So it takes a lot to build up that trust, and it does, it's all cool to see that someone who has like consistent work every day and all, but it took a lot to get to this level. And even when I first started working with him, like, it took a lot to get that trust, but I feel like I kind of heard you guys say it a bunch too, and you put it way better than I could about how it's where we said preparation is, or luck is where preparation meets something.
Opportunity, yeah. Luck
exactly.
Is the point. It was like a baseball coach when I was like 14 said that, but other people said just luck is the point at which preparation and opportunity meet.
Exactly, yeah. So that was like, you know, I think the reason Thug really kept me on in the big ring, because this was when like people were like, yo, this is one of the hardest guys to work with in the industry. Like this guy is firing 4 engineers a night and stuff like that.
Really?
He saw how fast of a Pro Tools operator I was. And when someone sees you flying through shortcuts with not even having to touch the mouse and just operating Pro Tools like you're like driving a sports car almost, that puts a level of confidence in the artist. And I learned that earlier on. So I've been really quick with Pro Tools always, also because you have to do that as a tracking engineer.
Yeah.
That was a big plus, I think.
That's very cool. Yeah, I was gonna before you said that, I was gonna ask, how do you build the trust? But it sounds like being prepared, getting your skills dialed, and then time and spending the time and just executing.
Yeah, exactly. Just showing up every day. Like, there's a point where like, and some sessions are rougher than others. Some sessions are super smooth. It's just always like that. It's inevitable. But there was like a clear point when I was like, okay, we're in sync now. He doesn't like he's thinking and I'm executing, and that's when that's when you know that, okay, cool. That's, you've reached like a.
And how long did that take? How long was it into your relationship where it was like, okay, I mean, obviously, maybe you guys will be working 10 years from now and you'll be like, it's even more dialed in than the first time we talked.
Exactly.
Was there a point at which
there was definite sticking points where like, I feel like, because he wouldn't say much at first, but like when he actually told me, he was like, yo, you're a dope engineer, but this is the way I work and this is why I work this way. And so like small things like, okay, cool. When we're tracking, every engineer, like you make a new playlist, when you're recording, but he was visual. He would like to see what he did on the old playlist. So that would really annoy him. So it's literally switching your keys, your habit from, instead of doing new playlists to doing duplicate playlists. And it's just these small little changes that I like to be adaptable. That's what, because he's a dope Pro Tools operator too. So like everything I do has to be adaptable. So if he comes in and wants to nudge or comp or do something, it's set up cool so that, I know a lot of people keep all the effects right up top. So if he scrolls all the way up, it's just, he doesn't have to like try to find what he's looking for and stuff. The whole template is laid out in a very, simplistic manner, but very, very, it just works, there's like a bunch of throws. So he knows if he wants something to be a little wetter, if he wants something to have a delay or whatever, he knows to drag it down to one of them real quick.
Interesting.
And stuff like that.
It's cool. It's cool to work with an artist who has that level of knowledge. I mean, it's one of the things that I guess we talk about a lot, which is no matter what your role is, whether you're artist, producer, engineer, mixer, whatever, it's important to have some somewhat deep knowledge of every aspect of it so that you can communicate with people, so he can communicate with you, and that helps build the trust. His ability helps you trust him as well when he goes, hey, I want to see it like this, I want to do it like this. It's there's some people on here saying we want to do a Bainz mix with the masters, and I would love to get details on how you set things up, but because this album is so fresh, and you and I talked about it whatever it was yesterday, I would love to ask you about this album specifically while it's so fresh, because it sounds like you had a lot of cool stories. It actually made me think. I was showing the Real, which is, I told you, is like my favorite song on that record. It's just a crazy, amazing sounding record. It's emotional. That guy Umfunk is unbelievable. And I noticed on the video, there's a moment in the video where Thug is in front of a Pro Tools session with a 2-track, and I was like, oh, your boy knows Pro Tools. That's
oh, dude, Thug really knows Pro Tools, man. Not just like I've worked with a lot of bigger artists that know how to record themselves. Thug really does know how to use it. Like he knows how to get what he's doing. Like because he does crazy things that he has crazy ideas that only he would pick certain parts and execute them the way he does without getting into too much of how he does what he does. So he needs to have control over that. He needs to know all the different modes, slip, grid, the different, the grabber, the separator, smart tool, all that shit. He needs to know how to do that. Yeah.
That makes me so happy to hear.
And I feel like the one dope thing that I taught him, the quick key, which made my life a lot easier, was that before, when we started working, he used to just, if he wanted to raise the volume of a certain section or whatever, if there were multiple clips or multiple regions, he would just consolidate them and do it up and down, with the fader. because he wanted to group them. But then you know, once you go back in and you're mixing, you can't, if those edits are baked in. So I taught him how to do the clip gain with the quick key, and that's been a game changer. So that he just goes ahead, whatever he needs to do, because sometimes his ad-libs is so dynamic and stuff. But yeah, it's just, we have a really good workflow like that. And then once we're done and we know the records are gonna, you know, end up being used, like it's what we've done in the rough mix kind of just gets cleaned up over here and executed in this room, which is like right down from him. It all starts with like Arish will get the session, get it prepped up, do basic, you know, clean up the fades, de-essing. We use Isotope RX so much just because we record in the control room. It's almost like I was the analogy I was using the other day was I remember a lot of my friends that used to do live recordings and then have to go and mix those live recordings. You feel like it's a performance in the studio every day. There's a lot of people in the room, so that's an energy. That's a certain kind of energy. That energy translates to the record with the artists and stuff. You know, it's great for them, and you get a great performance out of it. Now the guys, the technical guys, the people like us that are put there in that position to make sure that despite all of that, the record still sounds good. So that's really what it is, you know? Well, that's an important thing for, I think, especially people who are watching, who are engineers, producers, whatever. It's actually not always about getting the best possible sound. It's getting the best possible sound in a situation that is not ideal. Because creativity and excitement comes out of situations that are not ideal, and spontaneity. It's like the photographer. I think we said it in another one. It's like the best photographers can take the best shots, but they also know when to click the camera. So your ability to go, all right, the vibe is happening. You said it on something else too. Man, there's so many things to talk about. But you said it on something else where you've recorded at times where right when you hit record, you're like, oh wait, the tube is going out on the mic. I can't stop the session. What was that? Yeah, that was a slime language thing. But no, it was a record that it was it never came out, but it was another big artist that we were working the record for, and the tube went out right when like it must have just happened, because we did a song before that and it was fine. And for people that don't know what a tube sounds, it's not unmanageable, but it just sounds like the ocean. Like it's just like waves, like weird noise happening. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with the C800 goes out. So I was like, shit. And this is a record that was going to like another really big engineer who I look up to, and I was like, fuck, he's gonna pick it up. And that's really what it is. You want to impress the other people that you're working with. You don't want them to think that you messed up or whatever. It was cool. It you know, these things happen. This happened to us so much on this project in the studio we were in Atlanta. We kept like I think they never threw out their old tubes, so they'll be like, okay, yeah, here's a tube, and I would swap it in between takes real quick and realize, oh shit, they gave me another bad tube. So 3 tubes I swapped out with bad tubes, and we were like, okay, it's something else. It's a different problem. We got a different power supply. And then Teddy finally told me that. He said, okay, cool, this is for sure a new tube. Swapped it out, and that started working. Oh my God. But it was good practice to do it like quick, you know, like these are things that like I know this from having to do it in situations like this. Well, and you were saying to me when we were talking about that song Real, which I think is like, there's something about that oomph vocal that's so emotional and so heavy. But you were telling me that part of that sound is like a quote unquote mistake or an accident. Oh yeah, hell yeah. So my buddy Flo recorded that song. And I think AJ was another who's Oomph engineer. They all set up the room. It was at Tree Sound in Atlanta. And it was probably one of the first few days of this stint that we did for Slam Language back in October. And Umfunk had this record. I think he got Flo to record him, and Flo told me this later. He said, bro, I don't know why it sounds like this, but he figured it out once the record was done, because he couldn't stop the process. They had the 1073 going into the Avalon, so it was doubling up on the preamp, distorting, and then hitting two preamps chained together. Exactly, yeah. And it was just baked in. So if you hear the record, I mean, yes, it does work for a reason, but the amount we pulled our hair out trying to like take this out, and this is also where Geoff keeps telling me, he's like, dude, this is why like sometimes you just gotta like let shit pass. He like told me, he was like, I think like for the last one, he said, I want you to mix this but not go crazy, because he wants it sounding raw and stuff like that. Like sometimes it's that you need the imperfections of what make it. But we did definitely get a lot of weird harshness out of that. Well, it's an amazing sounding vocal, and it's
you know, that vocal may have never been if the engineer was like, there's something that doesn't feel right. I'm going to stop the momentum. I'm going to stop the vibe and spend some amount of time trying to fix it. And you just can't do that. And I mean, it's literally my favorite song on the record. When his first vocal comes in, it just breaks my heart, man. That's
Flo's,
really incredible.
Shout out to Flo for that, man. Flo's another. We've done a bunch of sessions together. There's, like I said, there's a whole team of us, and he's credited as co-mix on a bunch of records too. He's Gunna's engineer, but we'd all be like, whether it be in Atlanta or over here in LA, like I'd be working in the room at the back, and like he'd come in, I'd be like, yo, what do you think of this? And he'd sit down for a bit and tweak it for a bit, and then I'd go back to doing it. And the crazy story about Real is like, so we did it over there, got a good mix off it over there, basic mix, but it's also like moving between studios and all, so I wasn't really like in one space with speakers I like or whatever. Then sent the session back to LA where Rish pulled it up over here, got it into my ecosystem over here, set up Listen To and TeamViewer, and for a good week mixed this record off my laptop in Atlanta while he was here. And we were just texting and doing it. And we've done it so many times since, it's crazy. Like the Go Crazy remix, Tizio, him and me mixed the same way. And we like 2 people were tapped in. It was like Tizio was like, yo, I feel like I'm in a Tesla on autopilot when the other person's working. But that whole record, because like I've been working so comfortably over here for so long, and I kind of developed this sound that when it was like, okay, we're going to Atlanta, now all you have is a laptop. I just couldn't, it didn't translate for me right away. Like I got close, like shout out to Acoustica, shout out to DSP. I took my APB with me as well. Like these companies like make cool stuff that you can get close to it, but still if you're used to even just the monitoring environment, just sitting in your room and being able to listen without someone being like, oh shit, you got to go record right now, and then having to shut my laptop and everything, go record and then come back to do it. Because I remember at one point I asked Thug, I was like, yo, can I go back to LA to finish mixing this? And he looked at me, he's like, hell no. He's like, do it over here. And if I couldn't do it, someone else would do it. But there was no like, it's just you gotta take it.
You figure out how to get it done. I mean, that's a big part of being a professional, right? Is like the non-ideal situations and getting great results. I'm interested in maybe talking a little bit more about the co-mixing concept or the co-mixing, because there's so much whether and I don't know if this is the case with the Drake record or the Travis record where and you talk about Gunna has his own engineer, guys who have their own engineers, and they send you a mixed vocal and then you tweak from there, like, and maybe it's different on different things. How does those work? That's
happened a bunch of times on one of my favorite records on the album too, T Shine's record, That Go. We got a mixed acapella from Cruz, who's Meek's engineer, and then so I think what changes is a lot of times when this has happened to me on 2 other records. The guys who, when you're mixing an acapella, they don't have the same mix bus you have.
Right.
So somewhere along the line, it's not going to translate the same way. So there's ways around it. There was a record that I did with Mike Dean called me up like, yo, why is Travis's vocal sounding so? It was the compressor because his vocal was so wet already. This was like on Keed's record last year, Wavy. The solution was just to like bypass the mix bus and it hit it after the mix bus where the limiter is. So
on your mix bus? On
my mix bus, exactly. So that his acapella didn't get affected by my mix bus, but like after the mix bus it went through, because I have a couple of stages after that, then it goes through a record track and a print track. So when I'm mixing, my mixes from masters get printed at the same time. So I don't have to go back or whatever. There's one, like there's like 2 of them in print. So anyway, I just bypassed that, which was cool. With this one, Derek is Travis and Don's engineer. Really cool guy, really good friend of mine. He pulled up with the vocals, and we mixed them together. Like that. It was here at this studio. Same thing. That's how Tizio and me work. When we did a whole album like that, where it was any record that was Chris dominant, he would start the record. And then send me his mixed version or 80% mix or whatever. I would mix Thug into that, and then we'd come to my studio and finish it together. If it was a Thug record, a Thug dominant record that Thug was on the hook, we would mix it over here, send it to him. He would mix Chris, and then again, all the master sessions happened over here, all the final prints, and we'd all like Arish, him, and me would go back and forth. And this is also because there's 2 of us we're not just mixing, we're also recording the whole record. We're doing a job that is a full-time job in of itself, while doing another job that's a really big important.
You have your day job in addition to mixing.
Well, mixing is the day job because we record at night,
and recording is the other. That's crazy. The night job, I mean? The day job, and the night job.
Yeah, and I feel like what enabled me, that the fact that I was part of this really was shout out to T-Shine, because like what was it? Right after So Much Fun came out, that's when they were like, okay, cool, you mix the deluxe. And then T-Shine was like, you're mixing my project, and just started giving me a bunch of songs. And that's when I realized we started dialing in the sound. We realized that, and I was watching one of your old clips there about the converters that you were talking and stuff. That's when I actually swapped out the Apollo for something better. And in recording, I didn't notice it as much, but when I started mixing the same mix, running through everything else, just on an Apollo, I was like, holy shit. You know, it blew my mind away. So I have an Apollo 16 over here that's being used for computer audio, just for like 2 channels of computer audio, because the other shit is Avid, and also for the DSP. Yeah, that's it. But like I have enough octos. I don't need it, but whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So maybe I know that people give the people what they want. Can you talk about? It's great that you're the vocal engineer and the mixer, so you know the whole process and the whole sound. Can you give away the big secrets or whatever you can of what's the chain? What's the
yeah for sure, chain
mixing or vocal or whatever.
Chain is pretty standard. It depends on the studio or whatever, but you know I prefer the C800 over just the C800 works on most records. The 251 works on a lot of records, but on some records you got to work a little harder.
And is that just because the 251 doesn't have the same kind of presence on it?
Yeah, exactly. And it just depends. Like it just cuts through a little easier right from the get with certain voices.
I see. Yeah.
You know, like also Thug and Gunna have pretty, even though they're similar, they're very different in registers. So that's when we got to really adjust our templates. And it's a lot of flow and me jumping back and forth and doing that, and even in the mixing process. But anyway, yeah, it's then a 1073, usually a CL1B, but the CL1B at the studio where we did a lot of this stuff it just didn't, something about it didn't feel right. So we used a Summit TLA 100. And shit, before that there's a 902.
What's the 902?
The DBX 902 DXer.
Oh, okay.
It's either hitting, depending on who's recording, either plucking out 4K or 2K. I'm huge on pulling shit out. That's like what a big part of my workflow. And like if you want that's the recording chain. And recently, again, thanks to you guys or thanks to John, the Mike was like, Mike's the owner of the studio. He's like, I've got a bit of a budget. You guys want to get some stuff, so we got a DW Fern preamp.
Hey.
So a few records on there. I'm still like, the crazy thing is we had this crazy big session, which I can't even talk about who it is right now yet, but it was a huge producer we were working with, and I'm not getting the Fern out. So that was the first time I recorded, and the first thing I did was anything I had that was boosting in my template, I had to go bypass it instantly. I was like, all this warmth, like this top end, and it's just this saturation that I was doing in the box, I just had to take it off, and like right away it cut through. It was perfect.
Oh, that's great.
I'm really liking that. But again, that's very recent. So yeah, on Real, let's talk about what we've got going on the vocals. On Umfunk, there's there's a lot of clip gaining and clip effects, which I use a lot of, like clip effects.
Yeah, shout out clip gain and clip effects. I mean, that's something that we've talked about, and I've gotten into much more deeply in mixing and producing and cutting. Like clip gain is everything, man.
Yeah, exactly. Clip gain, and then like I like clip effects as well. Like that a step further, because instead of like just taking the S's down 3 dB, you could take them down 1 dB, but cut off this frequency, and it sounds a little more natural.
And this is like the option. Option 6.
Option 6. Yeah, it's a HD only thing. I think it's a very not very recent anymore, but like when you say very recent, you'd like show how long you've been engineering. But it's like over the past 3 or 4 years. Like it's not longer than that. I definitely don't remember it in like Pro Tools 11, maybe after 12 or when they started doing the year shit. But anyway, there's a lot of that. There's a Pro Q3. There's 2 de-edgers on there. De-edger is a plugin by Tokyo Dawn Labs. It essentially works just like a DBX 902. Okay. The only difference is you have like you can set the Q as well.
And so it's a de-esser that's just a little more focused.
Exactly, yeah. And I've got two of them. One is probably hitting, I'm guessing around 200 or 250. This is just a screenshot I'm looking at. And the other one's probably around 4K.
By the way, shout out for being so prepared for this. You knew the songs I was going to ask about.
Yeah. No, this one I knew for sure. I was like, all right, cool. I want to, I really don't like doing this just because I don't know, but like, whatever. I'm going to do it because I know people like it. And I appreciate it.
The people love it.
Yeah, exactly. So then there's a True Iron on there, which is just a little bit of saturation. It's made by this company called Kazork. It's like a $30 plugin, but it just ends up on every vocal I do these days. It's just literally at like 0.02 or 3. It's the same thing as doing, the lo-fi with 1 and 1, 0.01 and 0.1. It's very similar to that.
Oh, interesting. I love that effect. That's interesting. I'll definitely check that one out.
True Iron by Kazork. Then there's a Soothe on there. Okay. Also, this record was mixed like, this is one of the first ones on the project, so it was a while back. Shit has changed since then, but anyway, on this particular one, then there's a Soothe 2. There's a TubeTech CL1B, which I don't know why that's there. Normally, it's not. It's not there, but I think because I did this over there and they had a satellite that had it, I used it. Then there's a Ruby 2, which is the Acoustica version of the Fern.
And so you're doing, it seems like you're doing fairly subtle moves with
Hell yeah. It sounds crazy as it is. I'm looking at it. So basically this is a mono audio track with all 10 slots filled up that goes to a stereo vocal track with 6 or 7 slots, but everything is doing just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I'll tell you, everything that I said before on the left side up until the Soothe 2 is all cutting. All subtracted stuff, very, very minuscule amounts. After we've already done the clip gain shit, then the CL1B is probably just clamping down anything that wasn't clip gained or whatever, just a little bit. Ruby is probably what's adding now a lot of I add a lot of bottom on there and top, same shit. I use it just like you would a Pultec. I just switched from the Pultec to this probably after listening to John talk about it, about the actual thing. I've been wanting to get one for so long, but we'll get that at some point. Then there's a McDSP 404 on there, multi-band compressor. That's also usually there on most of my vocals. And this an Ultramarine 4, which is just a Fairchild emulation plugin from Acoustica as well, also ends up on a bunch of shit. Then there's this
and again, like you're doing very, very small amounts, like the multiband is just doing a little overall,
very little, just to like kind of glue it back together after, if anything.
And by the way, the people who have not watched these before, this will be up on my IGTV. It'll be on YouTube tomorrow. We'll have an audio version. There's our buddy Bradley takes show notes, so you can go on LiveWithMattRad.com in a couple of days. And
I joined the Discord today.
You joined the Discord?
Yeah, today.
Amazing.
So I
love that.
Yo, what's up? Shout out Derek's in here. Derek is Travis and Don's engineer, and he was the one who came, like we were talking about him earlier on. So anyway, Ultramarine 4. Then there's Overloud Gem Dopamine. Okay, so now this is all like that must be adding a little bit of top end, and then that's 10. So that's all 10 slots.
That's all 10 slots. That's amazing.
All right, now it's going to another track that has a Neutron 3 on it. Okay, that probably has the EQ. Anything that's poking out, it's just taking out in dynamic mode just a little bit. Love the fucking Exciter on there, so that's definitely on there. Usually split in 2 bands. Warm is the only mode I ever use at a very little.
This is the Neutron Exciter.
Yeah, the Exciter built in Neutron 3. They built it. Yeah. I'm really, really big on fucking Isotope, McDSP, Acoustica. These are the 3 companies, and then all there's a Gullfoss on there too, doing a little bit of mysterious stuff. Gullfoss is fucking awesome too. I don't know about Gullfoss. Oh, I can't tell you what it's exactly doing. So John's gonna hate it, but it's fucking awesome. Just use it in small increments. Yeah, small increments. It's got like a recover and a tame, and there's the concept of it is it works based on there's the dominated frequencies and the dominant frequencies, and based on that. It's got very few sliders. There's one of those things, don't overdo it. You know, I always stick below 20% on anything I'm doing, maybe 30 at the most, but usually below 20%. That's by Sound Theory.
Interesting. And by the way, somebody in the chat here, Goldfuss is such a cheat code, gives me imposter syndrome. Like, this is great. Just go use whatever sounds good. Don't worry about it.
There was like 2 or 3 songs on the album that basically were like, are we getting the stems? We're not getting the stems, so we waited, but then we didn't get the stems, so we mixed it real quick, and then there's like 1 or 2 songs that Laporta had revisions for. Those are always the 2-track ones. And the easiest thing would be like, oh, fuck, it's a 2-track. Okay, let's open up Gulf, see what we can start with, and then go from there. Oh, like 9. I'd say it worked like 6 out of 10 times. So that's a pretty good rate for a for 2-track and 3 fucking options. 3 or 4 sliders to mess with, 2 percentages and a tame and whatever. So yeah, that's it. And then, the one thing that's on here that I don't normally use is the BX refinement. And that's probably because of that extra harshness that was in there.
It already had a lot of that character and distortion baked into it.
Exactly. It had a lot of that baked into it. And then that's just the processing. Then the parallel shit, there's a parallel distressor, just a little bit, Brickacity, capital chambers, and some other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's now that Alex is here, I'm gonna stop talking about my
Shout out Alex. What's up, man? Yeah, man, that's so cool. And like I said, people, you know, this will be on my IGTV, and we'll put it up on YouTube so people can come back and take notes. So if you're furiously taking notes right now on the 11 plug-in or 15 plug-in chain, you can. But it's important for people to realize that, dude, you're doing subtle moves with a lot of
these plugins. It's so like I want to be like the guy that now has said this, and people are going to throw this on it, because with all of these plugins, it's so easy to go overboard. Like, you just gotta like don't do more. Like, some of them there's like barely any fucking compression happening. It's really just instead of turning the volume up, I like the way that shit sounds, so I'm using that as a gain knob. Really, ultramarine for a lot of times, but that one does sound good as well, even if you push it a little bit. That's that whole shit. Oh yeah, and then the one thing that's on Thug's vocal, and this is the first time I started using this, was called, I remember this was later on in the chain. That whole thing was Fung's vocal. Yeah. Thug's is also pretty similar, but the one thing that's on there, I remember telling Aresh while I was listening to it in headphones over there that I was like, dude, I think it needs like a suppressor on there. Like, that's the Oxford de-esser. We used to use that a lot, but it just glitches so much, the U81. So he put the spectral shaper on there after, like, I think that's one he picked up from John. To me, it just sounded like a fucking, like a RX thing. That's why I never went the spectral or anything that I thought would try to mix it for you. I didn't do it. But that plugin is insane. It's like a more targeted, soothe almost. It's like it's way more targeted. It's the ozone spectral shaper. John talks about it a lot. That's definitely where I got that. Where he got that from, and I liked it on here, so we've been using it since then.
So how do you? I know there's a couple of records. There's the Drake record. There's the Travis Scott record. These guys who have really iconic sounds already coming in. And I don't know if you said was it Derek or who was in the chat that
Derek,
does the Travis Scott. So is he giving you stems? Are you guys working on together? Because the Travis sound is more distorted, has a particular high end. Obviously, his ad libs have that crazy reverb. Are you working on that sound with him, or how do you do that?
With that one, and I know this from doing other songs with Travis. Travis is very particular, doesn't like to send his vocals out, whatever. So Derek went to Travis's house, got the vocals. He said he barely had 15, 20 minutes. But because he knew he was coming to me and Travis knew it was coming to me, they were a little more, they were spread out a little more, but it was everything was wet. Like,
it's back to trust, right?
Yeah, the post-chorus bit, which has this crazy wet reverb, like both of them knew they went overboard after they did it. But to try to change it, we tried to change it, but it would have taken too long or whatever. So and then Travis was like, fine, it's cool. So Derek came here, and this was also, what was this? Aresh, was this Tuesday night? Yeah, this is week of release, Tuesday night. he comes in and I remember he came in with me. He's like, yo, I got some cacti for us. I got it from the office. We're going to drink this and mix the record. I was like, dude, I haven't slept in 3 days. It doesn't end for me here. I'm not touching any alcohol or anything like that until this fucking project is over. Because there's like that shit doesn't work. Like, bro, we weren't sleeping for like anything could have slipped by if we were not.
How do you survive that? Are you? I mean,
cycles. That you gotta like at some point you gotta put your head down and like there's just take a nap for like at least an hour or two. And at that point, like we were kind of making sure that okay, fine, if we're doing that, then something else is happening at the same point. Something's being prepped or whatever. But yeah, by the end of it, it's really all that adrenaline. You can't sleep. And then we finally when everything's delivered, submitted, what was it? Tuesday night. No, Wednesday night. I was like, okay, cool. The album comes out Thursday night. Wednesday night went to sleep. I told you Thursday we were doing.
Tell the story.
We were doing quality control, listening to cleans, making sure nothing got by.
So this is you've mixed. So for people that aren't familiar with the process, there's a lot of people that are, but you've been working on this album for. You said the first thing was October, maybe
October was real, and then But the crazy thing is when you're an artist like Thug, and when you announce on a Monday that your album is coming out on Friday, everyone wants to be on your album.
That's what I was going to ask. So everything goes crazy.
That week was, whoa, this is coming in. It was just insane. It was
I don't know if you can talk about it, but I'm curious, and feel free to to defer it or whatever. But you have Slime Language 2 up until the Monday he goes, I'm announcing it, and maybe you have don't know what songs you're gonna be on, what songs are gonna be off. Maybe you have an idea, but then when things happen and he goes, it's coming out, what's the rush like? Is it multiple big artists? Is it Thug saying we're getting this, and like the Drake, the Travis Scott, these various records?
The Drake record was that's a bit of a that record was actually, I think Gunna recorded that in November, and it was actually for Drake's album. And then Drake gave it to Gunna and us for Slam Language, and Thug got on it. But there was something about the production that wasn't there yet. So Thug's manager Geoff just was like getting like Wheezy went in and like just do a bunch of things to production, and it was never finalized. And then they said that Drake was gonna get on another song that I was waiting for till the last second, which is also another big song, which he was like, nah, whatever. He just like eventually they greenlit it at 9 a.m. on Thursday. Okay. And at that point, Thug's manager was like, it's too late. It's not on there. It's done.
So Thursday morning, it has to be delivered that night, I assume.
It's been delivered. It's been delivered. Okay. It's been delivered on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, at like 3 p.m., I remember my food was in the microwave, and he called me, and he was on the phone. He looked at me and said, the Drake song is coming out tonight. It's on there. And I was like, what? He said, go start. He just literally did this, go start. And he said, you have 1 hour. And I was like, whoa. So because we had the record from a while, I'm gonna go. I like skipped a bit of the story, but we had
do whatever. Yeah.
The version that came back from Drake was a different version with different sections of production. So there was Oz, his producer, did the first half, and Wheezy did the second half. So it's not like I just have to mix. I have to mix two completely different songs. Essentially, two completely different beats in 1 hour. You can't do it. And for me, the biggest dilemma is which version of the session should I use? Should I pull it into my session that they've sent, but they've made edits now? So I don't know. I have 1 hour. I could miss an edit. I could fuck up.
Yeah, you have to copy edits on the
But they sent me a completely different session. So now to take that into my mix session, which I've done all this, it took me 10 minutes to figure out what to do. Which version to go with, because I kept opening up each version and shit, and then like all of us, like it was Flo, me, and Arash in the room, and Arash was like, yo, if they've made edits on that, they've done that, we don't want to fuck up, let's work off their session. Opened up their session, then just started importing what we needed, got Thug's vocals in from ours and Gunna's vocals, and we had worked on Drake's vocals. We had cleaned a lot of D-bleed and D-click and all the cleanup stuff, but we couldn't use that. We had to use this new one. So it was crazy, but shit, that's the biggest record on the album.
Yep.
We pulled it off 5:05 or 5:03, delivered to mastering, called mastering. Laporta was, now I can tell this story. Laporta was like, yo, I think Drake should come down, or Thug and Gunna should come up. And I was like, fuck, he can't be louder than our guys. And I was like, I made after he had okayed it. I made a change with Laporta, and the label, the head of A&R, is messaging me like, "What the fuck is going on?" Because Laporta, instead of just saying it's happening, was like, "Nah, Bainz is making an edit," and I was like, "Yo, the edit's done." And like, again, you can't like, so now an edit is the song is over 4 minutes. It's at least got to run the length of the song and the length of the clean. Yeah. There's no offline bounce when you're doing analog gear and shit.
Yep. So to bounce that song takes like 5 minutes each time.
exactly 5 minutes. So and this is when every minute counts. You're at 5:30, 6, 7, 8, 9. In 3 hours, the album comes out, and Thug was like, "No, it's got to come out, or just put the album out later." And we're like, "Dude, we're dropping tonight." And Thug came while I was working on the record in this room.
I love
on
this.
On Instagram Live, like, "Oh, what are you working on?" And I didn't know if I could play it or not. He said, "No, play it." And I was like, "You want me to?" You could like kind of on camera like hear me. He's on IG Live. He's like, yeah, play it for my fans. Turns it all the way up. You could hear my speaker fucking distort because this room doesn't have a limiter. It's like, it's a mixed room. So I'm meant for production stuff. So I'm like constantly turning around, and he was like, "Yeah, this is on there." And I think he lit a fire under my ass, under the manager's ass, under the label's ass, under all the DSP people's asses. Because DSP knows now that Thug is, every blog is talking about this, and I'm like, holy shit.
So he goes on Instagram Live. So
at 4 p.m.
Like, the recap is like that the album gets delivered on Wednesday for a Friday release, for a midnight Thursday release. Really,
yeah, which is still late.
Still super late.
Still the latest I've ever had to deliver. Like you have to all this bullshit. It has to ingest and shit. They need 48 hours. Sometimes even 5 hours. They'll do it.
That's so crazy. So you deliver the whole album on Wednesday night for the midnight Friday, Thursday to Friday, and then on Thursday they go, "Hey, this Drake record is going on the album," and you're like, "Okay, I haven't slept in forever. I'm gonna figure it out." And even to the point where Thug, this is like to me, I hear the story and I go, "This is leadership."
Yeah.
Where he comes in,
he comes out Instagram Live,
and it's like, "Hey, this Drake record's coming out," and you're like, "I fucking have to finish it now."
So that
it has to be great.
Later on that night, I got when I was like, "Okay, finally," at past 9 p.m. there was a cake in the room. The record was out. I was like, "Is it on Spotify?" It was on Spotify. If it's on Spotify, you're good, because Apple and all are quicker. Spotify takes the longest, and I know this because we've dealt with this in the past. And I was like, "Okay, cool." It's on Spotify. I was like, "Holy fucking shit!" And then I went to Thug. I was wasted at this point. I was like, "Yo, you did that purposely?" He was like, "Hell yeah." Of course, he that's what he does. These things, like, he knows what he's doing. He knows everything he does. Like, everything he does is for a reason. It might not seem that way in the moment. And like the whole thing with this album, especially his manager is like the A&R on the album, and Thug's manager is a really good friend of mine, and he's the one who really has like put me in a position to do all this. But like, it's like he's given me these crazy challenges every time he throws this shit at me, but I've always delivered. And that's what I think, like, separates you. And that's where that whole like preparation and all that stuff comes in. You got to always be ready, and you got to kind of just do a good job and just be humble, and good shit will keep coming.
Well, it's and yet again, it gets back to making consistent records with the same people and building that level of trust, where they know you can deliver. You know that you're going to work hard for them. You've been through the fire before, and you're going to make it happen. I love that. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite finishing the album story. That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, dude, Ski, like 2 days, and like the thing was, have you gotten Thug's mix approvals? That was also big, and I was like, not on this one. So the ones that we did have it till the last second, I was like, go to him and be like, because you got to catch him in the right mood to get a mix approval. That's a big.
He's an artist, man.
Yeah, exactly. And I went and played Ski for him, and like I remember the first time, it was really close, and I'd been working on this for so long. And he was like, "Nah, man." And I was like, "What the fuck?" He was like, "Nah, that 808, it meant to be like, it's just meant to explode. It's meant to be massive." And I was like, "Fuck," because on the rough, it had a big distorted 808 that was cleaned up now and shit. And bro, I came back and like getting that up and balancing everything else in that much of time before delivery. But it worked. And like, people are calling me like, "Yo, how did you do that?" And I'm like, "Fuck, he knows what he's doing, man. He pushed me, put me under the fire, made me do something I wouldn't normally do that people are really enjoying." So.
Well, we've talked about this on some of the lives before, about quote unquote bad mix notes, or people who give you notes and you don't necessarily agree with it. But like, that's a big part of our job. Somebody just comes in and goes, no, it needs to sound crazy. You go, okay, I'm a professional engineer. I know what crazy can mean in these 9 different ways, and I'm going to deliver, because he's got the vision and you're helping him execute it.
I had 2 versions. I had one version where I put...
This is Ski you're talking about.
Yeah, it's Ski. I put I put the Mike Dean gain station and I made it as crazy as it possibly could go, like the rough but a better version of that. And then I was like, right at the end, I was like, nah, that's not it. He just wants more low end. So I took that off, and then just there's a lot of like 808 stuff is most of this. It's Wheezy's production. I've like learned how to work with his production, and I'm so used to his production that I know when I work with someone else's music, if it sounds like that or not. And if it's not feeling like that or not, doesn't sound like that, what the fuck can we layer that shit with to make it bigger and bigger and bigger? Did you get the kind of, and this is something that I didn't even personally notice myself because I'm so close to the project and working on it, and I realized it after you said it, that there's no, to get the energy you can get out of a kick drum, out of an 808, it's different. You know, it feels whatever, but you don't get that knock and that punch right away.
Yeah.
You have to build that, or, you know, you just have to layer it with stuff. And most of the times the way people get that knock, why they don't use it is because they're using Fruity Loops. So when they use Fruity Loops, they distort the 808 so much that it sounds like that you don't need a kick, or there is no place for a kick there. A lot of it has been learning how to work with that and just, you know, get the low end sounding as big as fucking possible while the vocals are clear and there's still some cool vocal effects and shit.
We could, and we're going to have to do this again because there's already a bunch of questions that we're not going to get to because we got like 10 minutes left. This is amazing.
Let's do questions. Sorry.
Well, so no. I was just going to say there's a lot of questions about 808s, and it's something that I wanted to talk to you about as well because, and something, you know, John and I have talked about, this idea of the 808 being a long decaying tone. And then oftentimes there's a punchy kick drum that combines with it. And we've talked about phase or side chaining or them adding up correctly. But of course, there's a lot of things from guys like Wheezy, guys like Jetson, these just like really distorted, almost sometimes short, sometimes longer, but these distorted 808 only beats. What is let's talk about that a little bit more. We could do a whole hour on 808s, but how do you get that to feel punchy? How do you get it to feel exciting? Like,
it's a lot of, like, I'm big on most of my, so I feel like there's like, I look at mixing and like at least the way the workflow works for us is there's a prep stage, there's a vocal cleanup stage, and then when you start the mixing and the vocals are like mostly DS and clean, there's not too many plugins going on. Start working on the 808. I work 808 up.
Wait, let's slow that down. So the prep stage, vocal cleanup, and then mixing. What is involved in the prep stage?
Prep stage is getting the everything together, getting the stems,
all the right parts from the different versions of sessions, and
so it starts with, okay, this song is on the project. Okay, then the session comes to me. That we make a chart, who the producer is, what the name of the 2-track is, and then it's a mission to get the stems. Okay, and that is a fucking mission in itself. Now it's great because now I have a little bit of a name. I can hit up a producer and be like,
bro, you got the #1 album in the country. You got it going now.
So I can get a producer on the phone and like get stems. But before, it was like when you just have to rely on the A&R to do it because they don't give a shit. He does give a shit. He's like, fuck it, like, you know. I was like a couple of mixes now that we didn't even have songs on the album that we didn't even have the session for it. It was worked off a MP3 with someone else's vocals, and then we couldn't get the session. I was like, yo, can we get the session? Can I fix it? He was like, why? The album's out. And I was like, yeah, but you know, we can always swap it. He's like, no one cares besides you. And I was like, nah, but still,
that's not true.
Yeah, that's shit.
So the prep stage, and then you're going through and doing cleanup, doing declicking.
Yeah, and sometimes the vocal cleanup and all of this shit happens before the prep also. While it's in their fucking template, we just bypass their shit because it runs quick. You know, once you start getting it into like my stuff, when you like by the end of my session, if you hit play, it's going to take a second for it to play. Not because all. This is a really important thing with delay compensation. Just like with using so much parallel shit, you just gotta always watch for phase and then make sure that things are
always double checking it because Pro Tools can sometimes be a little squirrely with that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. That's a big thing. That was the reason that I went to Avid Interfaces because I met someone from Avid 2 years ago and I was like, yo, I'm sick of using this hardware insert. You know, with an Apollo, you have to tell if you're using analog inserts and stuff. You have to calculate the shit and all. They were like, the only way that goes away is if you use a complete Avid architecture.
You have to buy our shit.
Like,
which makes sense.
Like, fuck it. I was like, fuck it. Okay, cool. We're gonna do it.
Yeah,
gotta do it. And yeah, it was also because. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
I feel like for me, like I've been recording for so long, and I was at a really like I was I feel like I was at a very, I was here in my recording career, but like here in my mixing career, and I kind of wanted them to match up. And the reason I was doing really well for my recording career allowed me to get, and not to say you need gear or you need stuff, but you need a decent set of speakers, you need a decent room, you need a decent place.
We talk about monitoring all the time. Like you got to know what you're hearing.
Exactly, you know, and like now that I've had to like go and like work in different places and shit, it just really bothers me when I'm not, you know, comfortable or just have like what I'm used to.
So you got the vocal cleanup, you got prep, then vocal cleanup, and then you get into the mixing. Sorry, and then we talk about 808s and shit. Yeah.
And then so then we usually we'll get a decent of a mix going, work the 808 in, like start with the 808. I always start with the 808, and at some point I'm gonna build the mix bus on. But at this point, there's nothing going on the mix bus. I'm just focusing on the actual sound. With the 808, there's like I'll work on the actual 808 sound, and then I usually always have at least one or two parallels. One would probably, if it is lacking, I'll put a voice of God as a parallel, not on the actual sound, and I have like an actual hardware unit that I use for that. That just like if someone wants to give you that oomph from an 808 and that 808 doesn't have it, it's usually coming from there. There's some songs that we've actually put like a kick at the front of the 808 just to get that,
just to add a little bit of punch to it. Yeah,
with the addictive. And then you obviously got to go and like, you know, fade up the 808 so it just doesn't.
Interesting. Like, so you will sometimes take an 808 and just add a little bit of an extra punch sample at the top, just very, so a little harder. Very subtly.
Very sometimes if it needs it. But with Wheezy and all, you don't really need that stuff. Even the voice of God, you don't really need with Wheezy's.
Wheezy's. I imagine Wheezy's stuff sounds pretty good at this point.
Yeah.
Dude knows how to make shit.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, there's that, and then there's always like a mid-level saturation, usually like an amp or something on there. Cut it through, and then
is that to get that, like, I mean, one of the questions, and it's the question that people ask all the time. How do you get the 808 to speak on an iPhone, on laptop, on that sort of thing? Is that so? There's like. You have the super low end and the sort of higher harmonics. That's the amp thing you're talking about?
Exactly, yeah, the amp thing, and that usually just helps it cut like for small speakers, for iPhones, all that kind of shit. And I feel like with the voice of God, it's really easy to get carried away, and that's where like I really like my Amphions because they handle low end well, but the minute you push it where it's not meant to go, they start flubbing. So I always know when I'm going too hard.
That is such a subtle flubbing is the right word too. Where
exactly,
it's a little too much, and all of a sudden you lose it.
Exactly, and it's not always. It won't happen on. It'll just happen on certain notes. It'll just happen on the super low notes. So then a lot of times we're going in, getting those notes, building them up, and then using some extra saturation on just the super no low or whatever, just so you can hear that. But you know, it is a lot of volume automation.
So sorry, we just put a marker there. You will actually, when you're using harmonic distortion of some sort on the 808s to get them to speak, you might actually use different levels of harmonic distortion on different notes within the song.
Sometimes
because it might sound it's similar. It seems similar to clip effects and things like that.
Exactly,
like on the vocal.
A lower note might need a little more saturation than the high note because you're not going to hear more stuff like that or whatever. You know, just again, it's everything is like I hate saying like this is it. This is what I do. Every song is different. Every mix is different. The few of them, like there's a general architecture and a general workflow that gets followed because that's just, you know, how I feel like I work well and I've been working well for long enough. And if there's other people, if like Arish starts something or I start something, like both of us need to do the same thing. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter which one of us is doing it, but the same things need to get done. And I feel like because we have a set structure, it works out that way. And then, you know, 808 up, a lot of, you know, get the vocals. The last step is usually vocal effects, and then I'm doing vocal rides at the end to post compression. Everything, all the clip gain and stuff is pre everything else, and then like right at the end there's a lot of volume trim happening and stuff.
That's amazing, man. Well, look, we're actually already at an hour. I have like 12 more things I want to ask you, but I know we focused a bit on slime language too, because it just came out. And again, congratulations. But we should definitely do this again, man. I mean, people are asking about Go Crazy, about other stuff that you've done.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, we should do one with Tizio next time for Go Crazy. We actually haven't spoken about that record at all, which is crazy.
Yo, let's do a live with the three of us, and I'll just fan out on you guys. I love the way these records are sounding, man. You're a big part of the future of the way records are sounding, man. And it's really cool to get to know you and have you on. And for those people that haven't watched these before, this will be up on my IGTV. It'll be up on YouTube tomorrow. We'll have show notes. I'll be on the Discord after if you want to come say what's up to some people I know. I know they love you, and it's a blast having you.
Thanks so much. I know I've said this before, but like I feel like watching you and John, I feel like I'm just, just a bunch of dudes hanging out talking about gear, and that's why I was like super excited to be on here. I really like the way you guys present information and what you all are doing for the community, and it's super convenient and easy, man. So thank you, and I'm happy.
You're now a big part of this. You're now a big part of this, and I appreciate you very much, man.